William Shakespeare remains a mysterious figure as regards his personal history. There are just two primary sources for information: his works and various legal and church documents that have survived from Elizabethan times. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in April 1564, possibly on 23rd April, on St. George's Day, the patron saint of England, which is also said to be the date of his death. His father was a successful tradesman until he met with financial difficulties. William was the eldest son and attended the local grammar school, where he acquired a good knowledge of the English language and classical authors. He married Anne Hathaway when he was only 18 and she was 26. They had 3 children, Susanna and the twins, Judith and Hamnet. In 1584, he left Stratford, probably because he had been caught deer hunting, and he went to London. It was at that time that he first experienced the playhouse. He was received into one of the acting companies, at first in a very minor role, but his wit soon distinguished him, if not as a great actor, as an excellent playwright. In 1593, the London theatres were closed because of the plague, and Shakespeare needed the support of a private patron. He received the support from a young nobleman, the Earl of Southampton, to whom he dedicated his poems. When the theatres reopened, Shakespeare became a shareholder and the main playwright of the most successful company of actors in London, the Lord Chamberlain's Men. In 1599, his company built the Globe Theatre, where most of his plays were performed. Between 1519 and 1596, he wrote historical drama. At the same time as the history plays, he put 10 comedies onto the stage, ranging from farce to romance. The great tragedies were written between 1595 and 1605. The latter part of his life was spent in retirement at Stratford. He died in 1616 when he was 52 years old and was buried in the local church. 7 years after his death, some of his friends and fellow actors published an edition of 36 of the play in one volume, the famous First Folio. Shakespeare's sonnets were published in 1609, although they were probably written in the 1590s. It is likely that they circulated amongst his private friends and were sent to his patron, the Earl of Southampton, before a collection was published in 1609, quarto. The collection includes 154 sonnets in decasyllables. Shakespeare did not use the Petrarchan form, an octave and a sextet. Instead, he employed 3 quatrains and a final couplet. However, the development of the argument in many of his sonnets followed the 2-poem structure of Petrarchan form, since there is a turning point in the 9th line. Sometimes the turning point appears at the beginning of the couplet. The sonnets were not necessarily chronological, as there is a good reason to believe from their style, method and content. They have no title and can be divided into 2 sections. The first is addressed to a fair yacht, probably Shakespeare's young patron, the Earl of Southampton, and is organized as follows. Sonnets 1 to 18. These are devoted to the theme of increase. The poet encouraged the young man to marry and preserve his virtues and beauty through his children. Sonnet to 19, from 19 to 126. These deal with different topics, among which the poet's warnings about the destructive power of time and moral weakness. It is quite interesting to notice that time is no longer a theme, but an active antagonist, and that the the celebration of the beloved conveys a meditation on art and immortality. Within this group of sonnets are concerned with a rival poet who has addressed poems to the young man. The second section, from 126 to the end, is addressed to a dark lady or a black woman. She is physically unattractive, but the poet finds her irresistibly desirable. The choice of the addresses is a novelty for the Shakespearean sonnets, since it completely breaks with the Petrarchan courting tradition. In Shakespeare's sonnets, there is also a reversal of the traditional themes of love sonnets. For instance, the traditional love poems praising woman's worth and beauty are addressed by Shakespeare to a young man, while those devoted to a woman are negative and non-conventional. The situations suggested in the sonnets are meant to explore universal themes such as time, death, love, beauty, and art. They are also unique in their analysis of emotions and behavior. Shakespeare's experience as a dramatist had made him more conscious of the complexity and range of human feelings. The style of Shakespeare's sonnets is characterized by rich and vivid descriptive language. The absence of classical references gives the impression that Shakespeare's speech is immediate. His sonnets often have a dramatic quality through the abrupt beginning, the use of questions, and the pronouns thou and thee, which make the style conversational. Two of the most famous sonnets are Shall I Compare Thee, sonnet number 18, and My Mistress' Eyes, which is the sonnet number 130. The sonnets are rhyming like A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G.